Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Gtech Community Stadium. We're just waiting for the last Newcastle player, Bryan Mbeumo, to get onto the field. Simon Hooper confirms it's 11v11, and we are underway for this second half. And all we can say is let's hope for more of the same. It was a fabulously entertaining first half. Even if you have got a side in this game, it really was very enjoyable to watch. And certainly the home side, Brentford, would have been delighted with their 2 goals. Probably not too thrilled with the way they defended the 2 goals they conceded. Newcastle, for their part, would say they've had a lot of possession in the first half, and they probably would feel as though they should be leading now. So it's all to play for in this second half. Myself, Szczerbakowicz, and Nathan Wastell taking you through the action. And Nathan, we needed to sort of catch our breath after that first half.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was fast and furious, wasn't it? One side to the next, and 2 teams levelling each other out, and it's been a brilliant watch. Goals, some brilliant goals, 4 brilliant goals in this game as well. We were expecting it going in, and the way it's delivered, it's always nice when you expect a good game and it delivers the way it does. Brilliant advertisement for the league. I'm just hoping for more of the same in the second half.
Absolutely, and Brentford pushing forward right from the kick-off. They won themselves a throw-on in the attacking third, but it's just a short throw this time from a Pinnock, just rolling it back towards Yarmoliuk. And now it's with Norgard, who sends a diagonal ball towards the edge of the area. It's taken down by Collins. He hooks a high ball up in the air, but it's way too high. Catching practice there for Nick Pope. So no changes at half-time. Flekken in goal for Brentford. The back 4 of Vandenberg, Collins, Pinnock and Lewis Potter. Yarmoliuk and Norgard are the holding midfielders, with Mbeumo, Fabio Carvalho and Johan Wisser as the attacking 3, playing behind Thiago, though Thiago has been drifting out wide. May well be Wisser that's playing as the number 9 for Newcastle. Pope is in goal. Back 4 of Livramento, Schade, Byrne and Hall. It's Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton as the midfield 3, with Murphy, Barnes and Isak as the attacking 3. And here is Harvey Barnes down the left here for Newcastle, getting towards the Brentford penalty area. Tries to thread one through there for Joe Linton. That's good covering from Norgard, although he's got himself into a bit of a cul-de-sac there. Joe Linton wins the ball back, and he's actually won his side a throw as well. Good work there from the Brazilian. Quickly taken, but that's also good work there from Yarmoliuk to win the ball back for Brentford, as they need to just exert a bit more dominance as the home team. That's good work from Mbeumo to find a pass out to Thiago, who then rolls it into Wisser, rides the challenge, and Brentford are on the attack now. Wisser into the penalty area, plays the ball, and Pope has made an absolute ricket of that, and the post saving him there. I don't think that Wisser was shooting. I think he was trying to get the ball across the 6-yard box. Pope has sort of deflected that ball behind himself onto the post, and Newcastle somehow clear their lines, but that was so close to being Brentford 3-2 up.
What a strange moment. Yeah, he was playing it along the box, and then he's flicked at it. Nick Pope's gone behind him and against the foot of the post. I mean, on another day, it's one of them, isn't it? It could fly into the back of the net, but that's Brentford at their scintillating best. The way they move the ball so quickly and turning a defence to attack, really dangerous. And we talked about warning signs. That's one for Newcastle early.
Absolutely, it was Newcastle on the attack. They won a throw at the edge of the Brentford penalty area, and a couple of passes later, Brentford were on the attack. And that ball from Wisser, although it was a strange one from Pope, I still think it was the wrong option from Wisser. He should have tried to cut it back really for Igor Thiago. But yes, it's a nice little warm-up, hopefully, for what we're going to see for the rest of this half, as Newcastle now trying to get on the front foot. Guimaraes with the ball out. It was just a little bit short, but it does get through towards Lewis Hall. And then it's Barnes trying to thread a ball through to Isak, who does get a touch on it, gets towards the penalty area, but that's good work from Collins. And then Norgard to get the ball away. Good challenge there from Dan Byrne to win the ball back from Wisser. And Newcastle back on the attack now with Isak, left-hand edge of the penalty area. 2 Brentford players closing him down. He gets the ball towards Harvey Barnes. He just switches play. Livramento takes it down. He's got a support here from Murphy. Murphy's ball into the box. It's only partially cleared after the header from Collins. Drops to Isak, who takes too long. He could have pulled the trigger there, I thought, but he plays the ball along the penalty area, edge of the penalty area before the ball is partially cleared, but then it's actually a free kick after Thiago was brought down inside the box. But we're going to get a replay of this now, Nathan, where it's Wisser coming in down the right-hand side. And actually, I don't think Wisser is playing that across the 6-yard box. He's going for goal, and it's maybe that's surprised Nick Pope. It's got a slight nick off Livramento as well, so maybe we need to give Pope a bit more credit for at least getting his body in the way of it.
Yeah, I don't think we've given enough credit. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's deflected off Livramento, whether it was thigh or hand. It was... well, we'll leave that debate there because we could be there till the cows come home. But it's taken a nick off Livramento, so we'll give our flowers to Nick Pope for reacting so late and flicking it onto the post. Maybe he wasn't trying to achieve what he did, but he kept it out the net, which is the most important thing in the end. I mean, We've started as we left off in the first half, haven't we? Fast and furious, and
even looking at Eddie Howe, they're talking to his assistant. It looks like the two of them are sort of trying to catch their breath as well, trying to sort of process everything that they're seeing in front of them, because it really is happening at a very fast pace. But no change in the other scorelines so far. It is 1-0 to Villa against Southampton, and it's 1-1 between Palace and City. Those other games are available on this service, but that's a big mistake at the end. Oh, I tell you what. There's a free kick given to Brentford at the edge of the area. I thought initially it was a very soft decision for the slightest little nudge there from Joe Linton on the Brentford man. The flag's actually gone up for an offside. I think that's a little bit early there. I thought that Lewis Potter here on the near side, as we're looking, that he might have been playing everybody on.
Yeah, and we have that rule now that they have to play on if it looks like a goal-scoring opportunity. So that deems to me that they were going to give a free kick, because if it wasn't a foul, they need to play on to see how it plays out. But he did look like it looked a bit soft in live image, but from the replay, looked like Joe Linton may have just given a bit too much of a nudge in the back, a bit too much contact in the end, giving us a free kick to Brentford.
Well, Brentford played out from the back, and they've lost the ball on the halfway line. So here come Newcastle again. Joe Linton finding Harvey Barnes on the left-hand side. He breaks into the box, goes with the right foot, and it's a curling effort. That is Harvey Barnes all over. A right footer playing on the left, cutting in and getting some real curl on that one. And you can see that Flekken was scrambling, but in the end the shot is wide of the mark. Yeah,
Harvey Barnes at his best. He likes to go off that left side, get it on his right and whip it. And it was interesting to see. I was just trying to see if there was a deflection there. Norgard stood him up neatly to block between ball and goal. No touch off a Brentford man in the end. Just didn't get his boot wrapped around that ball, and in the end goes out for a goal kick. But Newcastle back in the ascendancy really, but need to be careful of pushing bodies forward, because when Brentford come forward on the break, very dangerous.
Yes, Flecken's long clearance here. It's interesting that Brentford have hardly played out from the back from a goal kick in this game. They have it when they've had free kicks, but goal kicks do seem to be sent long here by Flekken. And maybe it will be an adjustment from Thomas Frank as his side trying to give them. Newcastle guilty of being caught in possession there inside their own half. It's Bruno Guimaraes who loses the ball, and now Fabio Carvalho finding Wissa on the right hand side. Into the penalty area he goes, tries to set it up here, and Yarmoliuk doesn't pull the trigger. He's being closed down by two Newcastle players. Goes back to Wissa on the right hand side. He tries a cross this time, which is headed away by Livramento, kept alive here by Lewis Potter, who turns, but it's a heavy touch as he does so, runs straight into Livramento, and now Brentford need to track back because Newcastle can send bodies forward here. Livramento is off down the right hand side, being tracked here by Lewis Potter. Has to be careful about a clumsy foul after that yellow card he picked up, the only yellow card we saw in the first 45. Switched over towards the left here now, where Barnes and Hall are going. It's Lewis Hall's ball into the box, which is over here. It was almost not in the box, it was that high. It leaves on the right hand side, kept alive here by Longstaff, who gets it in towards Murphy, who's easily away from Carvalho, and then he goes for goal, but he's completely off balance, and his left-footed effort is many yards wide. Many yards wide indeed. And I mean, the build-up play was good, patient. The ball in wasn't the best into the box, but recycled it well. Lovely drop of that left shoulder from Murphy, but yeah, on his weaker side, he got that all wrong. But once again, Newcastle on the attack. I just feel like for Newcastle, they have the likes of Sandro Tonali, looked very leggy at the end of the Liverpool game in midweek, but I just feel like in that middle of that midfield, they just sometimes look a little bit loose, look a little bit out of control, and letting Brentford into this game more and more. Ugly clash in the middle of midfield. Big Igor Thiago and Livramento coming together. Yeah, so it looks like a quite strong collision there between the two of them. Referee Simon Hooper immediately stopping play and immediately calling over both physios as well. You mentioned a couple of players on that Newcastle bench. The Newcastle bench in the full is Asula, Target, Tonali, Wilson, Trippier, Gordon, Kelly, Almiron and goalkeeper Dubravka. So it's a very strong bench for Newcastle. Plenty of attacking and midfield options should Eddie Howe want them. As far as Brentford, it is Damsgaard, Ayer, Magoma, Konak, Roslev, Trevitt, Mee, Schade and goalkeeper Valdimarsson. It's going to be a drop border. I'll tell you what, I thought that was more of a clumsy one from Thiago. Really. He's the one sort of crashing into Livramento, I would say. Yeah, I think so. Looked very 50-50 in live image, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Came in barging in, took him out, drop ball to Newcastle for Dan Burn. We haven't seen much of that in terms of physicality. It's been quite a free-flowing game from what we've seen. A lot of passing football, but yeah, that was a bit of a nasty one, but it's good to see both players back to the feet and back underway. 54 minutes gone, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Brentford 2, Newcastle 2, and Barnes just rolled off the ball there. No free kick, says referee Simon Hooper. Long ball there looking for Thiago, easily dealt with by Dan Burn. Fight for it in midfield, and the referee does give the free kick the way of Brentford in the end. I think he waited to see where the ball ended up after Norgard was just blocked off. So yes, Joe Linton just bumping into Norgard, who was already in the air. I think that's why it's swung the referee's mind that it should be a free kick to Brentford. Joe Linton, who was already going off in the first half with an injury, he's not happy there after that free kick was given against him. Gets up slightly gingerly there, the Brazilian, but he should be okay to play on. Free kick to Brentford. It's about 10-15 yards inside their own half, but it's going to be taken long here by Mark Flekken. So you would expect Newcastle are going to try and set up as high as they can with the offside, just to try and make it as difficult as possible for Brentford. See a whole line of Brentford players, they're just trying to time the moment they go for the ball. It's going to be launched long here by Flekken towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. It's headed on, it might drop it for Collins, and it's in the back of the net. Well, after all this intricate play and short passing and overlaps, it just needs a long free kick from the Brentford goalkeeper, nodded on, and then it's Collins with a delicate left-footed finish, of all things, to make it 3-2 to Brentford on 56 minutes.
I tell you what, that's fantastic. What a finish that is by Nathan Collins on the left foot. Yeah, delicate, you're absolutely right. Sent through. And it's been interesting. Mark Flekken seems to be in all them free kicks just a few yards from the halfway line, and they send the big men forward. Didn't seem to be coming too much, hanging in that London air. But this time, like you say, ball over, eats well, Rose. But actually, I don't think there is actually a flick on. I think Flecken's going to go down as the assist maker. Let's just have another look. I think it's evaded everyone.
It's missed Igor Thiago. It's missed the back of Fabian Schär. And then take nothing away. It's a lovely little finish there, little sort of rolled finish there from Nathan Collins. And and considering that he's a right-footed centre-back, I think that left-footed goal is going to be a real collector's item for him.
Oh, absolutely. What a finish that is. Just control it. Don't need to whack your foot through it. The pace is already on the ball. The wind will definitely take a bit of pace on it. Sent him through on goal. And he's running at full pelt, so it's going to be difficult to control it. But the way he does on his instep, it's absolutely brilliant finish. I mean, for all the Newcastle possession, it just takes one chance, and it's a brilliantly taken goal. That's 5 goals we've seen, and 5 very good goals we've seen. 5 goals we've seen. We've not even had an hour in this game, so let's hope for more of the same. But meanwhile, there's a third goal at Selhurst Park, and it's Lacroix that's given Palace the lead against Manchester City. So, it's problems continuing. For there's a time when City scoring first, or City equalising even, would mean that they're probably going to go on to score next and win the game. But it just seems that their recent run of really poor form has given everyone a bit of a lift in terms of how they can be got at. And now Newcastle playing themselves into all kinds of trouble here. They were playing out from the back. It was a loose ball that then Johan Wissa takes advantage of. And as he's trying to go for it, he's clipped by Danburn. I think he's going to avoid a yellow card, but it's going to be a free kick to Brentford in a decent position. Yeah, unnecessary from Danburn. Really unnecessary. Coming in the back, but it was a really poor ball back to Lewis Hall. And it's just one of them sort of frustration kickouts at Wissa, and that's what Newcastle need to avoid if they want anything from this game. Don't turn it into a frustrating afternoon in London, because the goal came out of nothing, but sometimes that's all you need. And Brentford showing character once again at home, with a good performance, digging in deep. What they do have on the side, Newcastle, is there is plenty of football still to play, and like you mentioned, there is a strong bench, but they need to stay focused and not let this game run away from them. Strong bench, and also we know that Brentford aren't the best team at holding on to leads, but it's a free kick from Mbeumo now. It's a little bit too low, a little bit too short, easily headed away there by Lewis Hall. Second ball back in from Carvalho. It's a hanging ball that, in fairness, does get a good punch on it, Nick Pope, but he's got to get back on his line because Brentford have the second baller at the edge of the area. It's with Johan Wissa, who goes for goal, and I tell you what, it's pretty much straight down the middle, but it still took all of Nick Pope to sort of bat the ball down and make a save, because there was also Brentford players lurking for the rebound. And I'll tell you what, from a Newcastle perspective, it's very fortunate it was down the middle, because he didn't half catch that shot. That was travelling. Nick Pope couldn't. It was too hot to handle in the first attempt, and just about got it with the second. But Wissa, he only had one thing in mind, didn't he? As soon as he cut in on that right foot, he hit that, and he caught it really sweetly. But like I say, fortunate for Nick Pope and Newcastle, straight down the middle. Down the middle from that effort, and Newcastle now just being a little bit more measured, a little bit more planned in terms of how they're trying to play out from the back. They're not trying to just send the ball forward anywhere. Just as I say that, though, Livramento does try to send the ball forward, and it's Murphy that runs straight into Lewis Potter. There was a free kick to Brentford. Referees allowed play to go on, though, because Brentford do still have the ball in motion down the left-hand side. It's with Carvalho into Wissa. Wissa's ball into the box. There's nobody in the box. It's easily headed away. Back into midfield here, where Yarmoliuk is just dropping the ball back towards Pinnock on the halfway line. And then goes square to Nathan Collins, Brentford's third goal scorer, to Mbeumo on the right-hand side. It's back in towards Yarmoliuk.
worry for Newcastle will be that Brentford are just starting to see a bit more of the ball as well. But just I say that, the pass down the right-hand side, it's just a little bit overhit there for Vandenberg. And it's out for a throw to Newcastle. We're going to see this effort from Wastell again. Just seems to me that maybe Pope was expecting that to be a little bit more central, and actually there was probably a bit more power than he was expecting as well.
Yeah, he was shifting to the left, and it's come on just to the right of him. Looks like we'll get our first substitution of the afternoon. The Italian Sandro Tonali coming on the field of play. I don't think it's for Jacob Murphy, but Jacob Murphy is coming off. So a couple of substitutions for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon's on for Jacob Murphy, and Joe Linton makes way for Sandro Tonali.
Would you say that, but obviously, like for like, really, in terms of Murphy and Gordon, but Tonali a bit more attack? I suppose Joe Linton is a forward who's been converted into a midfielder, but Tonali perhaps just that little bit more busy in central midfield than Joe Linton would be.
Yeah, absolutely. He offers a bit more in terms of skill in going forward. May sit in the number 6. We saw Tonali sitting in that sort of position against Liverpool, but he does like to get forward as well, and he's got a few goals in recent memory in his career for Italy, of all, for his country. So may just like to push forward and offers, like you say, a bit more attacking outlet for Newcastle.
Absolutely. So just to remind you of the other 2 scores, it's still Villa 1, Southampton 0, and it's still Palace 2, Manchester City 1. Is that scoreline going to be maintained until full time? Brentford, though, trying to put more pressure here on this Newcastle defence, but just as I say that, Tonali is blocked here by Fabio Carvalho. And I think it looks like Tonali was expecting a yellow card there for the young Portuguese. The referee decides that it was more of a collision with it, but it's still a free kick to Newcastle, but perhaps not as much intent there as Tonali was suggesting. So it's Dan Burn taking the short free kick, rolling it square here to Fabian Schade. But we've still got their 3-4 attacking players. They're just trying to put a little bit of a press here on Newcastle, not going too high up the field, just making them aware that they're still close by. So back over with Schade on the right-hand side. I mean, from Newcastle's point of view, there's still plenty of time left in this game, so they don't need to sort of go hell for leather, but they just need to be careful if they do lose the ball that Brentford are going to try and hit them again. I'll get your thoughts on that in a second, because Newcastle are on the attack now. Lovely ball from Gordon. Lovely overlap here from Hall. His ball into the box. Just a little bit too close, though, to Collins, who puts it out, and it will be a Newcastle corner. Yeah,
moving it nicely. Much better, but it's stating of the obvious, really, but for Newcastle's sake, it's so important that they're the next team to score, because you do feel like it would be a bit of a nail in the coffin if they were to concede a 4th and go down 4-2. It's a long way back from there, but like you say, long way to go, and they have themselves a corner.
An in-swinger here from the left-hand side. Gordon with the ball in. It's got a lot of height on it as well, and it needs a big header there from Igor Thiago on the back post to put it out for another corner. It's going to be from the right-hand side this time. Surprised to see a different corner kick taker. Newcastle prefer to have the in-swingers, which I'm a fan of as well. I'm not a fan of these intricate little short balls into the box, which are very easy to defend by and large. It's going to be a ball whipped in here by Lewis Hall, right into the mixer there. It just gets away from its intended target, and then Igor Thiago, trying to get the ball away from his own box, is closed down and then drops to Gordon, who tries a very sort of aerial ball into the top corner, but he lifts it too high and it's out for a goal kick.
It's not a good effort. It's a tough one. He's dropping it down his left shoulder, and he's trying to use that right foot to get it in the far corner, but it's always sort of swerving away. If you're going for that far post, you've got to curl it. He's maybe better off just lacing it and just aim for the goal, and you never know what can happen with bodies in front of you. First cameo of him, not showing the best of his ability in this game.
Not so far yet, but he's only just come on the field, Anthony Gordon. Of course, he will need to play well, because I thought Harvey Barnes didn't do too much wrong. Really, a couple of maybe loose passes, but of course he gets on the score sheet as well, which was vital for him, as you mentioned, because he doesn't always have the best starts for Newcastle. But Brentford now back in possession with Ethan Pinnock down the left-hand side in towards Fabio Carvalho. Best start for Carvalho since his move from Liverpool in the summer. Just to make the best impression back in towards Norgard. And he then sends a diagonal ball out towards Mbeumo on the right-hand side. He's being closed down here by Lewis Hall and Anthony Gordon. Just holds it up and plays it back towards Vandenberg. Now it's Norgard again down the right-hand side. Mbeumo does chase that one, but Hall should be able to keep it from going out for a goal kick. He does. So he actually deflects off Mbeumo. Mbeumo, I think, was waiting for a teammate to back him up there, because there was a loose ball that Brentford could have won back. But it is just going to be a throw to Newcastle now. Ball into Tonali. Back to Lewis Hall. Clears it towards the halfway line. Taken down quickly there by Nathan Collins. It's now with Pinnock going back towards his own goalkeeper as Flekken. Giving it long down the right-hand side. It's just away from Vandenberg. and out for a throw. It's still... The game's still being played at a decent pace, but you just feel like Newcastle have got to strike that balance of really wanting to get back into the game and get an equaliser, but also they can't commit too many bodies forward because they've already been punished that way in this game already. Yeah,
that's the problem for them. You've seen every time they have pushed men forward, the way Brentford can turn defence to attack is terrifying. And they look really dangerous when they push bodies forward, and they need to be the team to score next.
They do, as ball down the right-hand side there. Whistle was onside, but that's credit to Nick Pope. He comes out quickly, makes the clearance, but Brentford come back straight away down the right here with the Whistle, gets to the edge of the area, and then tries to get a ball into the box. It's cleared by Fabian Schade. Loose ball here with Yeko Yarmoliuk. Trying to get the ball away here from to Sean Longstaff, who was closing him down. It's then over to Pinnock, who quickly gets the ball out to Mbeumo. And then Mbeumo into Wissa, back to Mbeumo, who goes for goal. But that one, you could tell as soon as he hit it that it was just going to be a little bit high there from the Cameroon international, and it's out for a Newcastle goal kick.
Moved it really nicely, lovely 1-2, set him really nicely, and you see he's going for that back post, curling it. Yeah, never said that it was going into the back of the net, but it just seems like the quality in front of goal just seemed to have dipped in the last 10-15 minutes or so, and the efforts haven't been the best. It could come down to tired legs of such. Harvey Barnes done well. There's a hint of a handball from Ease out there. It'd be interesting if they got through. Looks like it has been given. It just seems like for Newcastle, the rub of the green and the falling of passes and decisions just not going their way at the minute.
No, they're not, and you can see Eddie House is getting a little bit frustrated there as well. And with that, our TV director is now showing us pictures of Callum Wilson, who's just coming back from a bit of a warm-up on the touchline. He now seems to be getting his bib off as well, so we're going to see him. Would this be... in fact, no, I take it back. He was adjusting his bib just so he can get his bench coat back on, so he's not going on anytime soon for the time being. Callum Wilson, I was going to say if he comes on, it would be a like-for-like with Isaac. It's quite rare that the two of them play together. But Brentford have this free kick now on the halfway line, which means that Flekken's going to send it long. It's then hooked into the box by Ethan Pinnock. It won't quite reach Johan Wissa, and Livramento plays the ball away. But it looks like for the time being, he's happy to keep Isak on the pitch here, Eddie Howe.
Yeah, but I mean, if memory serves me right, Newcastle, they did go two up top at one point when they were in a losing position away at Brentford, and they ended up, I believe, winning the game, if I remember rightly. So, honestly, if Wilson comes on, it wouldn't surprise me if they did go two up top, but very risky against such a dangerous Brentford side.
And also, it does mean you have to sacrifice one of your creative players to get the two players on. Now, we've got a fourth goal at Sellers Park, though, Nathan.
Yes, we do. On the 68th minute, it looks like Man City have got themselves back in the game. Of plenty of football still to play. A rare goal for England international Rico Lewis, making it two-piece game on at Selhurst Park.
Absolutely, 2-2 in that one, and he's had a bit of grief, I think, off the pundits and the fans recently as Rico Lewis. I think the fact that he's a sort of a central midfield right back, and he's not really sort of nailed down either position so far. Say it's always going to be that little bit more exposed when you're playing for a big team, and suddenly that team loses form. Every little mistake and a dip in form is always going to be highlighted that bit more. But here come Newcastle now down the left-hand side. Anthony Gordon doing really well there. Just as we were getting into that discussion, there was a challenge from Vandenberg down the Brentford right, which has resulted in him getting a booking now. So both Brentford fullbacks are on a yellow card now. It's gone out for a throw to Newcastle now down the left-hand side. Igor Thiago trying to win that ball back for the Bees. Isak in towards Gordon, who's under pressure. Tonali's there to help out. He hits the deck. He wasn't fouled, though, says the referee. And Thiago now just trying to find some space. That's an awful ball, though, from Igor Thiago. Played at pace, with a bit of curl, back towards his own penalty area. Just be grateful that Pinnock was able to get his foot around that. And now Brentford are off down the left-hand side. But Wissa running into his man and giving a free kick away as well. I must admit, I didn't think that was going to be given as a free kick. In fact, I think it's just been given as a throw to Newcastle after all of that. But yeah, I mean, because of the pace and the attacking flair in the first half, I think it would be almost impossible to have that for 90 minutes in the second half. And there is a bit of a lull now as a result of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they'd run themselves in the floor if they tried to do it for an hour and a half. And like you say, it's just gone in a little bit of a lull after the hour mark, but it's still a brilliant game of football, and you just never know when the next goal is going to come, and that just sets up for a brilliant watch.
Yes, absolutely. And it's Newcastle on the attack now down the left. It's hauled back in. It's a great challenge there at the edge of the area, just just as Tonali was trying to break into the box, and Brentford eventually do clear their lines, but it's not far enough. It's straight to Sandro Tonali. Although Hall plays it back to Tonali, and Newcastle are now on the halfway line. We're over the three-quarter mark in this game. It is Brentford 3, Newcastle 2, and it will be Nathan take us through to full time.
Thank you, Paul. Harvey Barnes just on the ball, on the right-hand side this time, allowing Gordon on the left. Barnes trying to play it in, just putting his teammate under a little bit too much pressure. And maybe a chance for Brentford to get away here with Visser finding Mbeumo, and it's now a 2-on-2 situation. They haven't got back quick enough. Mbeumo finding Visser with the outside of his foot. Shot comes in, deflected. Nick Pope just about gets there and keeps hold of it. I mean, they're up against it, Brentford, and they were outnumbered for a little bit of a stint in attacking, but the way they made that a 2-on-2 situation, very impressive.
It was impressive. It was moved over quickly. I mean, there's a problem here for Igor Thiago. He seems to be sort of wanting to crouch down and show the referee that he wants the ball to be put out of play. We'll wait and see whether anything comes out from that. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle certainly trying to get on the ascendancy. Just I say that Livramento just miscontrolling the ball, and this sort of individual errors creeping in on both sides now.
Yeah, there is. May just set up for more goals. We'll have to wait and see. But still that knit and grit from this the Bees side. Still ready to sting that Newcastle team, and it's King Lewis Potter just weaving in and out, just slaloms into the big legs of Dan Burn, keeps hold of it though, does well, and drops it back to Visser. 20 minutes to play, plus any additional at the end of this game. Like you say, hit a little bit of a lull, but Brentford lead 3-2. Watched the fantastic afternoon of football so far. Sam Hoover just given a throw in on the near side to Brentford. No Brentford substitutions, I should say, as of yet. A couple of substitutions for the Magpies so far. Villa still lead 1-0 at home to Southampton, and Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 2, Manchester City 2. So it's been a eventful all three games, but there's still Man United versus Nottingham Forest to go at 5:30. That will be on our service as well, covered on our service. Brentford just on the ball now, hooked into towards the area, a little bit aimlessly, but under a little bit of corridor of uncertainty, and that's an aimless ball from Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes trying to flick it over a body at the edge of the box, runs into three Brentford players, really lazy play, far too easily won back. Igor Thiago's done well there, find a pocket of space here, maybe a shot coming in. Dan Burn standing up his man, can he stab it through? He looks like he's going all the way here, shot comes in, it's hit the first man, and looks like Harvey Barnes there doing the work for his team. Did it come off a Brentford man? It did, and they've got themselves a throw-in. If you were looking at any team that's gone next, it'd probably go to the home side.
I think so. There just seems to be a little bit more of sort of a directness about Brentford, and whether or not Newcastle are just trying to sort of find their groove and do things in terms of their attacking style that they always play. There may be something in that, but I just feel that Brentford are just being that little bit more direct. As we see this last move here, it's lovely work from Yarmoliuk. Once he completely ignored Wistler, he pretty much had to go on his own. He had no other options there, with just too many Newcastle bodies in the way.
Yeah, found a pocket of space, then the pockets of space are popping up, and that Newcastle backline looks like a rare start for Fabio Carvalho. His afternoon's come to an end. He's done well to move the ball from back to front. It looks like Igor Thiago, Paul, the man you mentioned, was a bit moving a bit gingerly, has come off the field of play as well.
Yes, he has, yes. So Igor Thiago is off. He's replaced by Brentford's hat-trick hero from the last time they played at the Gtech hero, Kevin Schade. But Igor Thiago, he'll be glad to at least have had 70-odd minutes under his belt now from the start. He's got that number 9 on his shirt, so he's going to have to try and find some attacking form from somewhere. But Kevin Schade, who's had his injury problems certainly since arriving, he's now on the field, as is Callum Wilson. He's now on the field for Newcastle, and he's on for Sean Longstaff. So you said that it would be rare to see two forwards on the field, but they are on the field now. Eddie Howe's not playing games anymore, is he?
No, he's going full fire. It looks like Miguel Almiron's come on the field of play as well. I'd anticipate that for Harvey Barnes on that right-hand side. Yeah, so Almiron, like for like, is on that right-hand side alongside Tino Livramento on that right flank. So a fair few substitutions getting thrown in. Would you think that Brentford is set up in the same way and Kevin Schade is up front, or do you think it'll be a bit more of a defensive-minded setup for Brentford now? I
think they might send Wistler as the number 9 now, with Schade perhaps playing as the wide man. Although between the three of them and Mbeumo, between those two and Mbeumo as well, they can pretty much just rotate. They'll understand each other enough to do that, and they're trying to get on the attack now. Yeah, very impressive going forward. Mbeumo left-hand side trying to drill it in. Hits the Italian Sandro Tonali. Looks like they were going to win a corner kick, but unfortunately, wrong side of his man Mbeumo. It's been flagged for offside, so Newcastle had the free kick. 74 minutes on the clock. Brentford 3. Newcastle 2, and you just get the sense it's one of them games sat at this point where
There's still something big about to happen. Which way it goes, I'm not quite sure. It looks like it might be Brentford. Visser coming in, looking to square it. I thought he was opening out for the shot. Went to square it across. May have just gone out for a throw-in, but it looks like we're on the edge. It looks like we're on the verge of something big still happening in this game.
Well, I would say that Newcastle's midfield seems to be letting them down right now, but their defence is actually doing very well. They're blocking these shots. There's only been a couple of saves for Nick Pope, really. Most of the Brentford attacks have been quelled by the actual defenders themselves before it even reaches the goalkeeper. And they need to do more of the same because it's now Brentford with this corner kick.
It is a corner in the end on the near side. Looks like Keane Lewis Potter. It will be a right-footed in-swinger from that man. 75 minutes on the clock. We've got 15 plus any additional to play. Keane Lewis Potter heavily defending that area. Newcastle, pretty much everyone back. It's gone short. Down the line from Mbeumo. It's a training ground routine. It's fired straight into the feet of Isak. Trying to dink it forward, looking for Gordon. And they are getting bodies back, but Gordon, just for a split second, looked like there was an opening, but Damsgaard, the substitute's done, well, superbly well, kicking it up over his head and then taking it down, taking it past the man. And then Brentford still have it on the near side. A little bit of a narrow corridor, but keeping hold of it really well. Lovely triangle play. It's that man Damsgaard over the top, looking for Schade, and it's going to be chested back fairly calmly in the end to Nick Pope, but just when you thought Brentford are going to lose the ball, not once but twice, they've moved that ball superbly.
They get it. They do move it. And there's a little bit of a confidence around Brentford now, which could actually work against them as well, because it means that it may just be that little bit more attack-minded, not thinking about defence. And as we know, Brentford aren't the best defensive team, and they're not the best team at holding on to leads either. So there's still a twist or two in this game, I think.
Fabian Schade, just inside his own half on the near side, finds Livramento. Newcastle just lost their ebb and flow and their jazz in this game, but a bit of jazz and a bit of sambering from the Brazilian Bruno Guimaraes. Feeds it down the line for Livramento. Need to move the ball quick. Newcastle feed it into Tonali. Not a good touch at all. First touch really lets the Italian down, and Mark Flekken will take that in two hands all day long and sits on it. And just when it looked like Newcastle was starting to knock into another gear, the touch from Tonali, it wasn't good.
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? When it's all so finely balanced, it just takes that one little mistake, that one little miscontrol, and it breaks the move down. And it's uncharacteristic for Tonali, who's normally so good on the ball as well. As here come Brentford now, and it's a feature this evening, this afternoon, that Flecken's been sending long balls as Schade tries to play a ball down the channel, but he's asking too much of Wastell.
He's done fantastically well, Schade, to actually win the ball from Mark Flekken, but such a horrible pass out. And then we talk about horrible pass out. It's Nick Pope now. Passing it straight to the chest of a Brentford man, and Newcastle really lost their way. Hint of offside, but I think he's just onside. Kevin Schade just on the right hand side now, moving the ball nicely. Can they get the ball in the box? Drop of the shoulder, but Hall recovering, asking for handball. I don't think they'll get it. Schade's kept it in superbly. Header out by Livramento, could go anywhere. And it looks like Hall's got it clear, just gone a little bit ugly, and the quality's just dipped out the game ever so slightly. Isak drilling it into the feet of Hall. He can't take it down. Stab forward looking for Visser, out for a goal kick. And well, we talked about the intensity dropping out the game, but so is the quality, really. Yes,
the two have gone hand in hand, unfortunately. It just seems like that there's a nervousness around Brentford that they don't want to sort of let Newcastle go on the attack, because Newcastle can hurt them then. And of course, the nervousness about Newcastle, they're already 3-2 down, so they can't afford to be 4-2 down. But now it's the Magpies on the attack down the right-hand side, but that will be very frustrating there. Two substitutes. Wilson wins the ball, and then he rolls it to Almiron, who never got back into the onside position. An interesting stat there as well. We just saw Newcastle haven't had an effort on target in the second half.
Yeah, and well, we talked about Newcastle being the better team in the first half. We thought they'd be the team to really kick on in the second, but it's been nothing like that. It's been it's the classic game of two half performances for Newcastle. They've been absolutely superb in the first. And in the second, really flat, no attempts on target, not good enough for Eddie Howe and his men. Mark Flecken's going to look long, straight to the head of Lewis Hall, who will just head it down and cushion it into the path of Anthony Gordon. Looked fairly lively since coming on. He skipped away from three men there a bit too easily. Finds Livramento on the near side, asking for support, not really getting much. Almiron, second touch, goes flopping to the floor. And when he's seen a free kick, fairly easy. It looked like Simon Hooper was going to go to his pocket, which I thought I wouldn't have agreed with, because Damsgaard really first to foul, but I think he was just adjusting his shorts there.
Yeah, I mean,
in the end.
It's been good from the referee, because I think that the two yellow cards he's given out are probably just about right.
Yeah.
And the other time he's sort of been close to them, but he's trying to sort of almost let the game flow. And there hasn't really been that much of a bad challenge in this game anyway, so he's probably managing everything right, I would say.
Yeah, lovely flow and well officiated. We don't give refs enough credit. We only give them the criticism when they're not doing so well. But the skipper, Bruno Guimaraes, free kick in a similar position against Liverpool in the dying embers at St James's Park, maybe looking for the same. High line from Brentford, he's looking for the same, but nowhere near the quality that he found against the team from Red, and that one straight into the hands of Mark Flekken. Real waste.
It's always a difficult one, isn't it? When you're crossing from such a long way away, you need to get enough pace on the ball to actually have one of your teammates attack it. But then, of course, there's always that danger that you're going to play it too close to the keeper, who can see it literally coming a mile off. So on that occasion, Flekken was able to get it. But in fairness to Flekken, makes a decent save, but then it's a terrible clearance from him to try and get Brentford on the attack. He slices that one wide, and it's straight out for a Newcastle throw.
And, well, with the wind as well and the conditions, it's easy for the ball to take a different flight. And I think Brentford have just bought a very easy corner there. I'm not quite sure what happened there, Paul. Did you see it?
I'm not sure if they bought. I think it's been given to them, hasn't it, there by Newcastle. It was the Newcastle throw on the right-hand side. And I think it was Bruno Guimaraes who just played the ball back down the right-hand channel, not realising that his right back had taken the throw, but there was no one there to collect the ball, and it just rolls out aimlessly for a Brentford corner.
And if Newcastle were to concede the fourth goal from this corner, well, they'll be definitely looking at themselves. That's such a cheap corner to give away, but Mikkel Damsgaard will come over and take this one. Right-footed in swinging corner. They'll look to take the game away from Newcastle and take all 3 points away from them as well. Damsgaard in his blue boots. The ball just seems to be moving in that quadrant under very high winds at the minute, but the ball stays still for Damsgaard to put it in the front post. Not a bad ball in, but Newcastle head there this time. Dinged it over top, looking for Armon. He's fast, he's not that fast, and another Brentford body just hook it out of danger.
Yeah, you want to play it into space there for Almiron, but Brentford are slowly learning their lessons. In the past, they've been guilty of sending everybody forward for a set piece, not leaving anybody covering on the halfway line. This time, Yarmoliuk does his job. He puts it out for a throw, and Newcastle have to start again inside their own half.
Lewis Hall going to carry it over the halfway line on the far side. Just down the line for Gordon. Feeds it into Isak. He's gone quiet in the second half. I haven't seen anything of the Swede. And the danger man, Tonali. He's got room to roam. Just feeds it out to Lewis Hall. Getting bodies forward here in Newcastle. No real urgency in the play. Still remaining patient. Tonali just to Fabian Schär. Predominantly everyone in the Brentford half minus Nick Pope. Almiron. Rare appearance for him in this Newcastle team this season. Livramento thought about playing it down line to him. He had Bruno Guimaraes there as well. Sat very deep. Brentford protecting the lead they have. Lewis Hall over to the far side to Gordon. Remaining patient. Gordon looking to run at his man. Making something happen. Lovely drop of the shoulder to the byline. Ball comes in. It's hit the first man. Not the right ball in, I don't think. Maybe looking to get a bit of flight on it. But a rare attack for Newcastle. Didn't come to anything.
Yeah, well, it's been a while, actually, hasn't it, since Newcastle have had a bit of attacking possession. Now, Brentford just happy to clear their lines, and then Newcastle can come again. And this is where I think Brentford have got to be very careful. We're into the last 8 minutes before we hit injury time. If they get into a mode of just sitting back, this is where Newcastle could become dangerous again.
Yeah, you're asking for pressure. And sometimes only leads one way. Bruno Guimaraes down the line, stood up really strongly, but just about gets a ball in the box. Wilson trying to make a mess of it as well. Just about get away with it, Brentford, and get the ball clear. Fabian Schär on it on halfway on the near side. And Newcastle's chance to come forward now. Miguel Almiron thought about the ball down the line to Livramento. Looked to be constantly running it down this right flank. Guimaraes looks like he was tripped by Damsgaard and will win a free kick. It'll be interesting to see if they do flight the ball into the high winds or not this time. Very similar position, but a bit closer in this time.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's the right decision. Damsgaard just gets the man and not the ball. And in the meantime, potentially a substitution which might mean a new set-piece taker for this free kick. Lewis Hall is off and Kieran Trippier is on. Yeah,
battling off illness is Kieran Trippier. And he's on the field of play. And you're absolutely right, Paul. He's straight onto the free kick. So it's gone from good quality to real high quality on the set pieces in this one. And Kieran Trippier will be on it. He's just looking across the line. It's a high defensive wall on the edge of the box. It's a really poor ball in. It's hit the first man. Bringing someone on to take a free kick. Yeah, expect a bit better. How's this one? He's got a second bite at it towards the back post. Headed out well. And lives to survive another day. Gon's going to float up high into the sky. Isak's taking it down. Is he onside? He might be. Header comes in at the back post, and for me, I don't know about you, Paul, I think it's Tonali. Has to be doing better.
Any forward or not, if you're an outfield player inside the opposition 6-yard box and you've got that much space, you've got to score there. And Tonali will be very frustrated. It's actually a lovely floating ball in there from Isak. And he's probably thinking, goodness me, if someone gave me that ball inside the 6-yard box, I'd be scoring from it.
Yeah, and well, we talked about Rico Lewis, didn't we? And the criticism he's come under. He's got the equaliser for Manchester City, but he's actually been shown a second yellow card. So Man City are down to 10 men at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 2, Man City 2, but Man City down to 10 men for the last 6 minutes. Last 6 minutes at the Gtech on our screens. Brentford 3, Newcastle 2. Newcastle just growing into the game ever so more in the second half. They've been a poor second half display, but seeing more of the ball. Alexander Isak right in the centre of the Brentford half, needs to move the ball quickly, moves it to the near side to Miguel Almiron. Trippier on a full sprint to get on his overlap. Guimaraes just has the edge of the box, has time to think about what he wants to do. Trippier's first time ball in, looks for Wilson, can't find him, defensively headed out to the far side. Gordon picks it up. It's all Newcastle at this point, flicked in towards Isak. Can it fall his way? It can't. Straight into Mark Flecken's hands, and well, it looks like there's going to be a pattern now until the end of this game that it's just going to be predominant Newcastle pressure.
Well, it's almost like someone's flicked a switch because Brentford seem to be quite happy to be, sort of aggressive and trying to attack and get forward. And just after that last round of substitutions, it's almost like Brentford have said, no, we're 3-2 up against a very attacking team, so we have to defend what we've got, and that's always going to be a problem for Brentford. That last move, they got quite lucky, really. It was Lewis Potter's header into the back of one of the players, and then it was quickly responded to by Flekken. But Isak was always there lurking as well.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because Brentford were just pushing, and all of a sudden they were just on the back foot, and there was no real natural cause of it. It just sort of happened as the substitutes happened as well. But just under 5 minutes to play until the 90 minutes, Brentford still lead 3-2 in this game. We went into half-time 2 apiece, and a brilliantly taken goal on his weaker side by Nathan Collins put Brentford 3-2 to the good. Almiron trip once again, and Newcastle with a free kick once again just inside their own half. Aston Villa still 1-0 up with a minute to play at home to Southampton, and Crystal Palace 2, Man City 2, 3 minutes to play, but Man City down to 10 men. And it looks like Ben Mee, the very experienced centre-half, will be coming off for the man that got the goal, one of the goals, in Visser.
Yeah, well, it's almost like Thomas Frank saying, well, seeing as my players have now decided to sit back and defend, I might as well make it easier for them. So, Yohan Wissa, he's certainly done his work for this afternoon. And another goal-scoring appearance from Wissa at home. Ben Mee, who's had his injury problems of late, but he's in the team now just to shore things up in defence. But this, of course, means that it's an official sign now from the bench that Brentford have to defend. So it's even more encouragement ready for Newcastle to try and get forward.
It's all up to Newcastle to get themselves forward, and just over the halfway line now on the far side, trying to get themselves 2 back-to-back 3-3 draws, which is an interesting stat to look up, seeing the last time that happened, not just in the Premier League, for Newcastle in general. Ball back to Alexander Isak. Shot comes in from, it looks like, it may have been Miguel Almiron on his stronger left foot, but it was a horrible effort in the end. And, well, for all the pressure Newcastle have had in the last 10 minutes or so, we can't really argue that they haven't had much chance in front of goal. Good chances.
They've had good chances. Yes, I mean, the header over the bar after that ball lobbed in from Isak was a good chance. There've been a couple of other half chances that have gone wide. But there's not really been too much for Flekken to do. It's his defenders that have had work to do in terms of dealing with that. But as I say, I would expect we're going to get to 3 or 4 minutes of injury time. So there's still around 7 minutes to play here. So as I say, it's still all for Newcastle to do here. Flekken now, it's a little bit of all the balls moving now because of the wind. As I say, it's. He probably is he going to take one for the team? I think the referee's had enough of him. Yeah, so it's going to be a booking here for Flekken, and he needs to hurry up now.
He does, and well, he's seen the funny side of it, and he's going to kick it long and as far away from his own goal as he can. And Bruno Guimaraes caught under the ball, and that gives Bryan Mbeumo a chance to get his head on it. It's just a bit of head tennis at the minute, but they've done really well, Brentford, to keep hold of it on the left side, straight to the feet of Kieran Trippier, trying to hook it down the line. Bit of a hard one to get round the corner, finds the feet of Mbeumo. Absolutely fantastic in that Brentford shirt once again this afternoon. Damsgaard has also been lively since coming on, and so has Schade. So the substitutions have actually been really strong for Brentford, just picking up on the edge of the box. Right hand side, just trying to get in the box. It's a cross-come shot. I couldn't really tell which one it was, but it's ended up in the hands of Nick Pope. They're trying to get the ball moving forward as quick as they can, but I can't imagine there'll be loads of additional time. Not that much. There's been substitutions and the odd niggly free kick, but we're maybe looking at maybe 4 minutes added on.
I think that'll be about right. 4, maybe now 5 after that bit of time wasting from Flekken that we saw a minute ago. But just as we say that, Brentford are just trying to get back onto the front foot again.
Yeah, they are, just on this left flank on the near side. Tonali trying to make a nuisance of himself, finds Miguel Almiron, predominantly one-footed, and he looks like he's actually given away a throw. Yes, he has. Really good work by Brentford, geeing up the fans, and really happy to see, working hard in possession. And Miguel Almiron just showing a bit of, maybe a bit of match rust, a bit of time rust there, just really slow on the ball, caught on it, kicked off him, out for a throw on the near side for Brentford, who are staring another win in the face at home. And, well, we talked about this is the biggest challenge so far at home, and Brentford, again, have shown what they're all about at home.
Well, they have. I mean, the fact that Liverpool had that amazing sort of blip at home to Nottingham Forest, that means that Brentford, if things stay as they are in this game, or even if they were to draw, they will be the only unbeaten team at home this season in the league, as the ball over the top now is, it's eluded everyone. It's a bit too much distance on that. We're about 30 seconds away from injury time. It's still Villa 1, Southampton 0 at Villa Park. They're into the 3rd minute of injury time there. They're into the 1st minute of injury time at Selhurst Park, where it's still Palace 2, 10-man Man City 2.
Throw in for Newcastle right in the corner. Bruno Guimaraes just trying to hook it out, trying to get it away from his own goal and towards Brentford's. We're about 10 seconds away from the 90, and we're about 10 seconds away from finding out how much added time is going to be added on at the end of this game. Might not mean much if Brentford are out to get a fourth, and they may just, and they just have very well worked. And it's the German, the hat-trick hero midweek, coming on to be fed through, in on goal, and then dinks it over Nick Pope. And if it was a tennis match, which we deemed it to be earlier, it's game set match.
It is game set match now, regardless of how much injury time there's going to be. I can't see Newcastle getting 2 goals back in injury time, but Eddie Howe and his coaching staff will have plenty of analysis on this game afterwards, because a lot of the Newcastle problems in this game really have been self-made. And we'll see here, it's Tonali, who's been a little bit off actually since he's come off. He's given the ball away a couple of times. Great work there from Wissa, but then I'm not too sure what the defenders are doing here, Nathan. After Mbeumo backheels this ball in towards Schade, you can see there's 2 Newcastle players lunging. None of them actually, in fairness, there's a slip there from Livramento as well. So that's not actually a poor challenge. He's actually not been able to keep his balance. But Schade, very swift feet there just to clip the ball over Nick Pope.
And based on the first half, you would say a draw would be a fair result, but based on this second half alone, Brentford have taken it upon themselves to be well-deserved winners in this game. 4 minutes added on, we're a minute into that 4, and it's Brentford 4, Newcastle 2. Such a brilliantly taken goal by Kevin Schade to make the points safe for the team in red and white, and he's very happy to see himself on the score sheet, the super sub. And Tonali just on the ball, feeding it out to the near side. And you would say it's very much away from Newcastle at this point. And like say, very even first half, but based on the second half, I think Brentford fully deserve the 3 points.
I think that they've surprised me actually, Brentford, and also what I have to say is that probably Newcastle have surprised me, and maybe not. I mean, that's not to say they didn't try to play the same way that they did in the first half, but maybe just guilty of a little bit of a lack of invention in the final third. But they're on the attack again here now with the ball from the right-hand side. It's only partially cleared, still half a chance in the box.
It's a bit of head tennis, of course. If 3 points were picked up by Brentford, puts them into the European places. They're into 6th. As it stands, Newcastle go down to 12th, who are predicting a much better season than they are having with no European football. Bit of a melee in the centre. It's got a bit ugly, but the goalmouth scramble is hook clear.
It's also worth reminding everyone that these 2 sides do rematch in the next 10 days in the Carabao Cup, and whilst Brentford have enjoyed a wonderful afternoon this evening at the Gtech, they really has been. Oh, just as I say that, Nick Pope has been caught in possession, and Mbeumo is going to be able to roll this in. It's going to be a 5th for Brentford. Oh, that's fantastic work from Big Dan Burn. He's been able to slide in there and avoid his side conceding a 5th after Nick Pope was caught in possession 40 yards out from goal.
I think the dinner tab will be on Nick Pope tonight for Dan Burn. He saved his blushes of the Newcastle #1 goalkeeper between the 6. Horrid mistake. Mbeumo, he'll be gutted with that one, but brilliant recovery challenge in the end from Dan Burn. Oh, what was he doing, Nick Pope? Caught in possession. That would have been nail in the coffin for sure. The big man gets back and saves the blushes of the Newcastle goalkeeper in the end, and saves it. Minutes play at the Gtech. It's still Brentford for Newcastle 2. Nearly 5 there. That would have gone from ugly to damn right nightmare for the Magpies if that ended up in the back of the net. Dan Burn, that man, just on the ball at the minute, and it's really wind out of the sails for Newcastle now. A little bit of belief in them, but now that 4th goal's gone in, it's well out of sight, and half a minute's play For me, I'm going to ask you the question, put you on the spot, because it's a tough one and it's going to go to a Brentford man, but who do you think's been man of the match?
I think, although he's not on the field now, I'm probably going to go towards Johan Wastell. I just think he's been so busy for Brentford this afternoon. He's been involved in terms of having goals and assists, and there's going to be a final change here in the final few seconds of the game now. I'm not even sure if he's going to get a chance to get a touch on the ball here. It looks like it's going to be Yako Yarmoliuk to go off. I think he's going to be replaced here by...
I think. Is it Mbeumo?
Yeah, it's Mbeumo, yes, absolutely right. So Paris Mbeumo, one of two Mbeumo brothers in the Brentford squad, although his younger brother is not on the bench today, but Paris had a very successful loan spell at Bolton last season, gets on the field, and I'll be surprised if he even has time to get a touch.
Full time elsewhere, Crystal Palace 2, Man City 2 at Sellers Park, and Aston Villa have taken 3 points from Southampton, 1-0 winners at Villa Park. Newcastle just on the ball, gives it to Livramento, and maybe just that goal has been added on to the added time. Anthony Gordon just carrying it over halfway centrally. They're not giving it up, Newcastle. Just feed it over to the near side to Kieran Trippier. And just back to Bruno Guimaraes. Not really moving the ball forward. It's very sideways for the Magpies. And that gives Simon Hooper the chance to blow for full time. The brilliant Brentford and the brilliant Bees have picked up all 3 points and pushed them into European football place. Full time is Brentford 4, Newcastle 2.